There's a sentence, 7 words long, that your county tax office is praying you never say out loud. I'm talking about a quiet little string of words that, when spoken to the right person at the right desk, can legally knock $2,400, sometimes as much as $5,800 off your yearly bills. That money is yours. It belongs to you under the law, but the system counts on your silence. They know you qualify. They have known for years. They just hope you never ask. Before I give you the words, I need you to do something for me. Hit the like button right now. Do not skip this. I am not asking for me. I am asking you to do it for the seniors in your family who do not even know this video exists. Every single like is a signal to the algorithm, and the algorithm is what decides whether this video reaches a 68-year-old grandmother in Ohio who is paying $4,000 a year she does not owe. When you like this video, you are telling the system that we are not staying quiet anymore. The institutions that collect this money spend millions of dollars a year making sure seniors never hear this sentence. A button push costs you nothing, and it might save someone you love thousands of dollars. So please hit like, share this with one senior in your life, and subscribe so the 7 words get to the people who need them most. Now let me tell you about my neighbor Mary. Mary lived 3 houses down from me for almost 20 years. She was a retired school teacher. She raised 3 kids, paid off her mortgage by the time she was 62, and lived on a modest pension that barely covered her property taxes and her groceries. Every spring, like clockwork, Mary would get her property tax bill in the mail. Every spring, Mary would write the check, walk it down to the county office, and pay the full amount without asking a single question. She did this for 18 years of paying the full bill. 18 years of writing checks for money the law never required her to send. I only found out about Mary's story because her daughter called me one afternoon, crying. Her mother had just been diagnosed with early-stage dementia, and the family was trying to figure out how to pay for the care she was going to need. The daughter mentioned almost in passing that her mother had always joked about how property taxes seemed to go up every single year, even though she had not made a single improvement to her home. Something about that comment did not sit right with me, so I sat down with Mary the next week, looked at her tax records, and what I found made me sick to my stomach. Mary had been eligible for a senior property tax exemption the entire time she lived in that house, not just for 1 year, not for 5 years, for more than 15 years. The county had a form. The county had a phone number. The county even had a poster hanging in the lobby that said seniors over 65 might qualify for a reduction. But nobody told Mary, nobody called her, nobody sent her a letter, and Mary, like millions of seniors in this country, trusted that the bill she received in the mail was the bill she owed. The law never required her to pay the full amount, but the county kept the check anyway, year after year after year. By the time we finished adding up what Mary had overpaid, the number came out to just over $14,400. That is $14,400 that should have stayed in Mary's retirement account. That is $14,400 that could have paid for her dementia care, or her medications, or just made her last few years a little less stressful. Instead, that money is gone. It is sitting in a county budget. And Mary is sitting in a memory care facility, wondering why she worked her entire life just to hand it over. That story is why I am making this video. That story is why I need you to share it. Because somewhere in your town, in your family, in your circle of friends, there is another Mary. And the system is counting on her silence just like it counted on Mary's. Here is what is happening in plain language. Every county, every state, every tax office in this country has a list of exemptions for people over 65. Some of these exemptions knock $50,000 off the value of your home before they calculate your tax. Some of them freeze your tax bill at the amount it was the year you turned 65, so it never goes up again, no matter how much your property value climbs. Some of them wipe out the bill entirely if your income falls below a certain number. The exact dollar amount and the exact name of the exemption changes depending on where you live, but the logic is the same in almost every state in the country. If you are over 65, the taxman owes you a discount. He just does not want to hand it to you unless you ask. The reason he does not want to hand it to you is simple. Every exemption that is not claimed is money that stays in the county's general fund. It pays for roads. It pays for schools. It pays for the salaries of the people working behind that desk at the tax office. If everybody who qualified actually asked for the exemption, county budgets across this country would shrink by billions of dollars. So the system does not advertise the exemption. It does not call you on the phone. It does not send you a personalized letter saying, hey, you might be leaving thousands of dollars on the table. It just sends you the full bill and waits for you to pay it. And most people pay it. Because most people do not know any better. Because most people trust the system. Because most people think the bill is the bill. I am here to tell you the bill is not the bill. There is a sentence, 7 words long, that changes everything. Before I give you the sentence, I want to walk you through the 3 steps you need to take to actually claim what is yours. I am going to keep this so simple a 6th grader could follow it, because if you can follow a recipe for chocolate chip cookies, you can follow this. Let me walk you through it. Step 1 is understanding the form. In most states, this form has a name that sounds boring and official, and that is on purpose. They do not want it to sound exciting. They do not want it to sound like free money. They want it to sound like paperwork you will never get around to filling out. Depending on where you live, this form might be called the Senior Citizen Property Tax Exemption Application, the Homestead Exemption for Seniors Form, the Over 65 Disability Exemption Request, or just simply the Senior Tax Relief Form. The name changes, but the idea is always the same. It is a piece of paper that tells the county, I am over 65, I live here, I qualify, please stop charging me the full amount. That is the entire purpose of the form. It is 1 page, sometimes 2, and most of the time it takes less than 15 minutes to fill out. If you do not know what your state calls the form, do not worry. I will show you exactly how to find it in step 2. But for now, just remember this. There is a form with your name on it. There is a form that, once you fill it out and turn it in, can legally lower your tax bill for the rest of your life. That form exists. It is sitting in a file cabinet somewhere in your county tax office right now, waiting for you to walk in the door and ask for it. Step 2 is finding the right door to walk through. Most counties have a property tax office, a tax assessor's office, or an exemption department that handles the senior forms. The fastest way to reach a real human being who can help you is to call the main number of your county tax office. When you call, you do not need to know the exact name of the form. You just need to say you are over 65 and you want to know what exemptions you qualify for. But here's the thing. Most people never get to step 3. They get nervous on the phone. They feel like they are bothering somebody. They let the receptionist push them off, and they hang up without ever asking the question that would change their financial life. So step 3 is the most important step of all. Step 3 is the script. Here's the sentence. 7 words. I want you to write this down. Take out a pen right now. Write this on a piece of paper and put it in your wallet, because you are going to need it the next time you pick up the phone or walk into that tax office. Here it is. I am over 65. What am I exempt from? Say it out loud with me. I'm over 65. What am I exempt from? One more time. I am over 65. What am I exempt from? That is it. That is the whole sentence. 7 words. And that sentence is a key. It is a key that unlocks every exemption, every discount, every freeze, every loophole that the county has been quietly keeping from you for years. The reason this sentence works is because it forces the person on the other end of the phone to do their job. When you ask, what am I exempt from? You are putting the burden on them to list out every single program you might qualify for. And trust me, there are a lot more programs than you think. There are exemptions for homeowners. There are exemptions for renters. There are exemptions for veterans. There are exemptions for surviving spouses. There are exemptions for people with disabilities. There are exemptions for people whose income falls below a certain number. There are even exemptions for people who have lived in their home for more than 10 years. The list goes on and on. You do not need to know the name of the exemption. You do not need to know the legal language. You do not need to know anything except that you are over 65. That is the magic number. That is what unlocks the door. When you say this sentence to the tax office, write down everything they tell you. Get the name of every form. Get the deadline for every form. Get the address where you need to mail every form. And do not let them tell you to call back later. Do not let them tell you the line is busy. Do not let them tell you to check the website. You have a right to this information right now on this phone call. And the 7 words you just said give you that right. If the first person you talk to is not helpful, hang up and call back. Call a different day. Go to the office in person. Go with a friend. Go with your daughter. Go with your grandson. But say those 7 words. Say them until somebody helps you, because every minute you do not say them is a minute the system keeps your money. Now here's the part that keeps most people watching until the end, and frankly, this is the part that made me angriest when I first discovered it. Most states do not just give you the exemption going forward. Most states will refund you for the last 2 to 3 years of overpayment if you ask. That is not me making this up. That is written into the law in most places. If you have been paying your full property tax for the past 3 years and you were eligible for the senior exemption the entire time, the county owes you money, real money, money that they will mail to you in the form of a refund check if you file the right paperwork. Let me say that again because I do not want you to miss it. If you have been overpaying for 3 years, the county owes you a refund. If you have been overpaying for 2 years, the county owes you a refund. In some states, you can go back even further. In some states, the look-back period is 5 years. In a handful of places, you can claim every year you have been eligible since you turned 65. That means if you are 73 years old right now, you could potentially claim 8 years of refunds, 8 years of money the county should never have taken from you in the first place. The way you trigger the refund is almost identical to the way you trigger the exemption. You fill out the form, you turn it in, you attach a copy of your previous tax bills, or you give them permission to pull your records. And then after a few weeks or a few months, the county sends you a check. That is it. There is no trick. There is no fine print. There is no secret handshake. You just ask for what is yours, and they have to give it to you because the law says they have to give it to you. I want to pause here for a second and let that sink in, because I know it sounds too good to be true. I know you have spent your whole life thinking the tax bill is the tax bill, and trusting that the system is honest, and doing everything you were told to do. I am not saying the system is broken. I am saying the system is full of loopholes the insiders know about, and the insiders are not planning to share those loopholes with you unless you go ask. The exemption is one of those loopholes. The refund is another, and both of them are sitting on a desk somewhere in your county office with your name on them, just waiting for you to come pick them up. If you watch this video and you do nothing else, please do this one thing. Pick up your phone right now. Call your county tax office. Say the 7 words. I am over 65. What am I exempt from? Listen to the answer. Write it down. Ask about the refund for the past 2 to 3 years. And if they tell you that you qualify, ask them to mail you the form today. If they tell you that you do not qualify, ask them why. Ask them to point to the specific law. Ask them to put it in writing. Because I promise you, in 90% of the cases, you are going to qualify. You are going to walk away from that phone call knowing that you have been leaving money on the table. You are going to walk away angry. And you should be angry. But you are also going to walk away with a plan. A plan to get your money back. A plan to lower your tax bill for the rest of your life. A plan that began with 7 words. I know some of you watching this might be thinking, this cannot be real. The government does not just give money back. There must be a catch. Let me address that directly. Yes, there are a few small things to keep in mind. The exemption usually has to be renewed every year or every few years, depending on your state. You cannot just claim it once and forget about it. The county will usually send you a renewal notice in the mail, but if they do not, you might have to call back and confirm. Also, in some states, claiming the senior exemption adds a small lien to your property, which means if you sell the house or transfer it to your kids, the county recoups a portion of the savings. That is a real thing to keep in mind, especially if you're planning to leave your home to your children. But for most people watching this, that lien is a small price to pay for keeping thousands of dollars in your retirement account every single year. And in some states, the lien does not apply at all. It varies. That is why step 2 is so important. That is why you have to call and ask. The other thing to keep in mind is timing. In many states, the deadline to file for the exemption is in the spring, around March or April, before the new tax year starts. If you miss the deadline, you have to wait another year. That is why I am begging you not to wait. If you are watching this video in January, you have time. If you are watching this in March, you have time. If you are watching this in April, you are cutting it close. If you are watching this in June, you might be too late for this year, but the refund clause could still work for the last 2 to 3 years. Either way, the sooner you call, the sooner you save. Every month you wait is money you are giving away for free. Money the county did not earn. Money the law does not require you to send, money that belongs to you sitting in someone else's bank account. I want to make one more thing clear before I wrap this up. I am not a lawyer. I am not a tax professional. I am not a financial advisor. I am just a person who watched my neighbor lose $14,400 to a system she trusted. This video is for educational purposes only. It is not legal advice. It is not financial advice. It is a starting point. It is a flashlight in a dark room. What you do with the flashlight is up to you, but please take my advice and do not walk out of the dark room without looking around. Now let me close the loop, because I promised you at the beginning I would give you the 7 words one more time. I want you to remember these words. I want you to write them down again if you have to. Tape them to your refrigerator. Tape them to your bathroom mirror. Put a copy in your car. Put a copy in your wallet. Tell your mother. Tell your father. Tell your aunt. Tell your uncle. Tell the 73-year-old man down the street who has been mowing his own lawn for 30 years and paying a tax bill he does not owe. Tell every single senior you know, because the system is not going to tell them, and the algorithm is not going to tell them, and the postcard from the county is definitely not going to tell them. The only people who can break the silence are people like you, people who watched this video and decided to pass it on. Here are the 7 words one final time. I am over 65. What am I exempt from? 7 words. That is all it takes. That is the sentence the system is afraid of. That is the sentence that puts money back in your pocket. That is the sentence that changes the math on your retirement. Say it once. Say it twice. Say it until somebody on the other end of the phone finally gives you the answer you have been waiting your whole life to hear. And when you do say it, when you do get that answer, when you do finally hold that refund check in your hand, come back to this video and leave a comment below telling me how much money you got back. I want to hear it. I want the whole world to hear it. because every refund story is proof that the system can be beaten. Every refund story is proof that one sentence, 7 words long, is more powerful than 18 years of silence. Thank you for watching. Thank you for liking. Thank you for sharing. And most importantly, thank you for refusing to stay quiet.